for joining us today in this new report that we're going to be announcing today to the energy community in the LATAM region. We are very happy to announce this new report that today is going to be launched with some global and yearly numbers. I think that the idea behind this is to be a piece of information, a monthly piece of information from OLADE to deliver to the Latin American and Caribbean region. Our mission as an organization is to try to inform the energy regional ecosystem to deliver valuable information that enable you to take decisions in different environments for the government, but also for those conducting analysis and for the academia, and also for those who are interested in researching for the green agenda in Latin America and the Caribbean. And this opportunity in particular, what we're going to be presenting is a report for power generation. This is a monthly report. And this means that from this month onwards, OLADE will be delivering a periodic report where we will be presenting the information for total power generation in the region. And also it will gather monthly data per country, per technology. And in particular, and this is something that I would like to highlight, is that we're going to be taking into consideration that the source of this information comes from the countries who normally work with us. So they are the ones sending us all the statistics from the different ministries and agencies related to energy topics. And we also receive information from the electrical operators from each one of the countries when they have information available. So this is official information as well. So I would like to thank the support from the different ministries and governments who have delivered this information, who have committed themselves to continue to provide this information in the coming months in order to be able to meet this goal. And we would also like to say that these are processes. Our idea is to continue to make progress with all the information on a daily basis as much as we can. We would like to do this online. This is a monthly based information, but we would like to envision this and we would like to share this with you. We would like to have the possibility of delivering information that's going to be at a short term, and in particular for electrical and for power generation. So this is going to be delivered in the short term when it comes to natural gas production. So this is the introduction that I wanted to briefly share with you. I think that the most interesting topic for today is to take a look at the first initial data in this first report, which is a new information product that our organization is going to be sharing with you. And you will be able to see this evolution month by month for Latin America and the Caribbean. Thank you so much for your time. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for your kind words. I would also like to reinforce the fact that we are thanking the counseling and the support from the 27 countries who are constantly enabling us through data to generate these kinds of products that are so necessary and that we are really looking forward to present in the energy community for Latin America and the Caribbean. And we would like to also thank our team from the Directorship of Studies and Information. We are all in camera. So we have Hera here with us. She has led this project. And we would like to now present this with no further ado. If you have any questions or comments during the session, please feel free to let us know. As our secretary said, this report presents consolidated information regarding the annual power generation in Latin America and the Caribbean for 2023 and 2024. What we did was to have this information and systemize this information, as I said before, and we have broken down this by source in this period for the different countries. This publication, as Alvaro said, we're going to be publishing month by month information that is going to be representing information that is 3 months old. Okay, so this is going to be the gap that we're going to be working with at least at the beginning. And as the countries continue to update their information, we're going to continue to update our publication. As my colleague said, we're talking about data that is official, reported by each one of the countries. They come from our focal points and from the different secretariats. The report that we are presenting today, that is already published at OLADE's website, olade.org. So we would like to kindly invite you to download it and interact with it. You will find there the main results for 2023 and 2024 and the main findings, also showing information for December 2024. Here we have the total generation. As you see, in 2024, we have it grew, right? The electric generation grew 5.5 with respect to 2023, driven mainly by wind and solar photovoltaic energies and a greater share of natural gas. We're also presenting here the technologies. So as you can see, the geothermal has shown growth as well in 48%, solar 39.7, wind 37.3, natural gas 7.8%, hydro 5.9%, nuclear 1.2, and bioenergy 1.7. And those that show a reduction were all N derivatives with a 58.8 and for coal minus 36.9. So this index has been done for a couple of years now. And the renewability index was 69%, almost double the world average, driven mainly by hydroelectric power. If we were to compare it to the 32% that we see in the rest of the world, this is related by hydroelectric power. Here we have a comparison from 2023 to 2024, where we can see the maximum power peaks in May 2024 and then in August of 2024. No, sorry. I think I read it the other way around. May 24 and August 23, these were the renewability peaks. This is per country, right? As the secretary is saying, this is the percentage of the input per country in Latin America and the Caribbean. So you will be able to see the percentage broken down by country. Some of them are very important, as you can see, with Brazil, 42%. We also have Mexico, so you will see this by country. In the months where we have some of the variables where we are considering electrical generation, given the availability of the natural resources, environmental factors which impact in generation, and also the demand. So this also influences in the generation because of the interdependency that the region has on renewable sources of energy, and specifically for solar, wind, and hydro. And here we have a comparison for renewables and non-renewables in each one of the years. Then, regarding the months with greater generation of renewable hydro, wind, and solar electricity in the LAC region for 2023 and 2024, we can see again the peaks with the discrimination of each one of the sources. You see that we have March, July for hydro and solar in December, hydro in January, in wind was in August. In December, we have solar and photovoltaic. This is also very interesting information when it comes to analyzing the behavior by season in the different regions. The interpreter apologizes, the sound is cutting. When it comes to December 2023, we can also see the information for 2024, where we have an interannual, the electricity generation in the LAC reached 149 terawatts, registering a year-on-year increase of 1.3% compared to December of 2023. Again, this is breaking down by December to 2024, but each one of the sources, a huge percentage of hydro, geothermal, wind 30%, solar 9%, and nuclear 1%. Oil and derivatives is also representative, and 5% of IO energy. This is how these 149 terawatts is composed of in December of 2024. This index of renovation, as you can see, we have the comparison. In December of 2024, the renewability index for electricity generation in the LAC region was 73%. So 10 countries contributed to this result with indices above 75%. This is in December. So of these countries, 6 were in South America and 4 in Central America. These are again represented, and they are above the average for this index for the whole region. As I said, 6 countries in the region and 4 in Central America. And last but not least, here we have the year-on-year variation in electricity generation in the LAC region as of December 2024 by source. You can see how each one of them have increased and decreased according to the data that we have received. And you can analyze the behavior. And with this, we have finished and we have seen the complete presentation. We open now for questions or comments. Some of you are following us via YouTube, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Thank you so much. Good morning, if you allow me. Yes, you have the floor. Good morning, I am Javier Basantes from Ecuador. I have 2 questions, please. Since we have Andres and the presentation of this report, Andres, I wanted to ask, when it comes to all the tariff by the Trump administration, how do you think this is going to be affecting the energy transition? Because this may have an impact in solar panels, which are manufactured in China, or what would be the context also involving India as an important stakeholder when it comes to renewables? This is a question for Andres. And for Fitzgerald, I would like to ask, in this 5.5% of increase, which are the factors incrementing this? The technology is being used, or if you can share some light on this. Thank you. Thank you so much. We were trying to go back into the presentation, but something happened. When it comes to the tariffs, I think that this is something that we need to take into account because these measures could have a general impact in the economy. And in particular, yes, as you said, in the energy sector. First thing that would be interesting to take into account when we were doing some calculations last week, we realized that approximately 9% of everything exported by Latin America and the Caribbean, but to the US, the whole basket in its whole value, about 9% is energy products. So in this sense, I'm making reference to natural gas, to oil, mainly oil, coal, and others. So it is a very important percentage in our exports, which is going to, which goes to the American market as an exportation. So we have to take this into account and pay a close look at what is going to happen. Then when it comes to other markets, not only the US and the importance that they have for Latin America, when we take a look at the numbers, and we are preparing a report for this, our region, Latin America and in the Caribbean, we have the US as an important market. Yes, it is true, but we are opening ourselves to the rest of the world. And when it comes to the system problem, the first impact that we can expect in the medium term, we can see now in the news in the morning regarding the behavior of the different stocks in Asia and in these parts of the world, they are dropping, right? So these are symptoms of what this can, in the end, mean as a transmission to the real economy, so to the real economical growth. So this could mean an impact in terms of the intensity of this transformation when it comes to the need of making sure that the economical growth is always our first answer when we need to justify the transition into a more global thing. And yes, as you said, technology is also key. So in this sense, I believe that we have to pay a closer look to what is going to happen in terms of deviation for commerce in the global arena. When it comes to photovoltaic technology, the global protagonist is China. What is going to happen with these products regarding eventually commercial detours, not going to the US, going to other countries? We will have to see in terms of price. We're sure that at one point we can see some kind of momentum in the overload of these technologies. When it comes to the trade flows, this is something that we have to pay close attention because I'm sure that we're going to be seeing a readjustment if this is to persist. So at one point, maybe due to negotiations among the main stakeholders, maybe this goes into a different scenario and it becomes more normal in terms of not impacting that much. So we're talking about the impact when you mentioned the 5.5 increase. Can you hear us correctly? There was a short gap. When we were talking about the growth in the demand, this is natural, right? Because there is always a natural growth promoting generation. It is also true that there is a series of situations taking place in our region that have to do with higher demands, which we also want to study, and we are actually studying them. And we have issued a note regarding the increase in the demand regarding data centers with AI. So huge increase. And in the region, this has had a huge growth. If Fabio allows me, we could say that in 2024, this year has closed with a tripled, right? With an increase because of the e-cars. We see that some sectors have had a huge growth, the triplication in the e-vehicle, in the e-fleet. So all these countries is decarbonizing the industry. So we understand that this is part of the explanation. There are other hypotheses, of course, and there are some sectors that are also promoting the growth of electrical generation. To complement your answer, this phenomenon of the electrification of consumes, this is something that we can see in Latin America. Our numbers indicate, when it comes to data center, an increase of 5% is going to be going to this sector, and also 3% for e-mobility. And if we are to add to these air conditioning, heating systems, cooking, the electrification will continue to grow. There is an interesting data here that shows a gap that is a witness to this phenomenon. You can see that the long-term trends when it comes to electricity, it goes hand in hand with the economical growth. However, in the last decade, the economy for Latin America and the Caribbean only grew 9%. However, I'm sure that the electrification grew more. So this comes to show that there is a transformational process impacting the infrastructure. And as a consequence, I would say that this 5.5 increase is a reflection on the increase, the per capita consumption, which is half of the countries of the OCDE in Latin America. So there is still a huge gap. And we also see a change in the infrastructure in Latin America, which wants to be up to date to this in order to give a better answer to this higher demand. Marcela, dear, you have the floor. Good morning, everybody. It really calls my attention because the presentation shows that there are 6 countries that are the ones that are promoting this movement. So I would like to know whether Colombia within these countries? Because you are showing to us like an X-ray. Here we are very concerned. Every time we go into a press release, the forecast that we see is very sad when it comes to our Colombian sector. We were growing at a very accelerated rate, but after the last change in government, we're taking step backwards. So this is very discouraging. So we would like to know your opinion about Colombia, because the acceleration has been very evident when it comes to the energy. We are not doing exploration and exploitation for oil. We are in zero. And some of the projects are still delayed. So this deceleration is very discouraging for us. But we would like to hear about your opinion. How do you see Colombia in this map that you showed to us? Thank you. Yes, if you take a look at the map that Visual showed, and you can see this in the information when you access our website, Colombia has a huge challenge when it comes to the size that you have. And this is something that we are sharing when it comes to generation. I mean that there is a correlation in the dimension of the economy, and Colombia has this specificity. When it comes to the electrical market, the objective for this presentation, I would say that today we have very important challenges in the region which have to do with the need of making sure that not only the regulatory aspects, but investment, infrastructure, and other segments in the electrical market are up to date, not only electrical generation. And here I'm talking about the distribution and the transmission, which is evidenced. And in fact, last year, we see that in a complex way, at some point, some countries had blackouts for a complete day. And this generated a lot of issues. So one of the requirements that we can see looking ahead is to have innovative regulations to update this important penetration for the renewables, almost 70% in the region, in order to have a systematic development in the whole market. And yes, we understand that this goes hand in hand with some of the crisis in the transformation for the electrical sector that we have seen in some countries. So this is probably what you're mentioning, right? And this is not only in Colombia. I don't know if that answers your question. No, this is contemplated within my answer. Yes, Colombia is considering among the shares that we are showing. Are there any other questions? No questions? Okay, everybody, thank you so much for your time. We will then extend the invitation to analyze this report month by month regarding this. About in the next 2 weeks, we're going to be publishing the next report, and we're going to be analyzing why the changes and why the season can explain the use of different technologies and what are the challenges ahead based on having this more periodic information. And we trust that this is going to be another tool to help us not only for the production of a monthly report, but also in the longer run. And this is why we're working. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.